This film explores the continued and desire of Sikhs for justice. Remember, Sikhs have sacrificed their lives for freedom over many generations. Remember, Sikhs defend the defenseless. This is a key ethic. We need to remember the genocide that took place in June and November 1984. The Sikh genocide, like the Jewish genocide, has to be remembered year on year to ensure that we honour the lives of innocent victims and ensure that such a situation never happens again. Hope is important for a better tomorrow. Together we can work towards reconciliation, charities for those who continue to struggle, and improving our understanding of each other to make this world a better place.
Well, the reason I'm here today is that still today that Sikhs have not received justice. So many thousands killed during the 84 riots, and thereon for the further 10 years after that. So many extrajudicial killings. To date, still no justice. The people responsible are still at large, and we will not let those souls be forgotten. Well, inquiries aside, even the last one, the Nanavati Commission, they were still saying that Titler and Sajjan Kumar, they didn't look at them because they were saying that they were being dealt with by the courts. And it was only after public outcry that these people were stripped of their seats that they were trying to run for in the elections just gone.
I can't speak for the group, but I'm here personally today to make sure that what happened in 1984 is never forgotten. 25 years on, justice still hasn't been given, and the way things are going, I don't think justice will be given maybe for another 25 years. Most of the culprits that were there now passed on, died, but we must make sure we never forget what happened. That is the most important thing. The minute we forget, we leave ourselves liable for it to happen again. So many Sikhs were killed after what happened in June, Operation Blue Star. A lot of our history was destroyed. Our culture was wiped. A lot of attacks on innocent people. And what followed that later on were the Sikh riots in Delhi and Kanpur. I personally lost my chacha over there. Up to this day, we never forget what happened to us personally, as a family, or us as a group of Sikhs, or as a religion on a whole. It's important that we never forget, and that's why we come here to mark our remembrance.
Okay, so in a way, it's a kind of remembrance, but I mean, going forward and saying, I mean, what do you think the Indian government could do right now? I mean, I know it's a difficult question, but what do you think? What would you want to see them do? Because I want this to be kind of like positive as well, in the context that we offer them solutions.
The Indian government, well, they can't bring back anyone from the dead, but what they can do is donate money, set up charities, hospitals, those that were traumatized, offer counseling to people that were emotionally traumatized, physically traumatized. They can offer up sponsorships, schools, orphanages. These need to be helped financially. That's the only thing they can do now, I think. Other than that, maybe it's a worthwhile thing to set a petition up to raise money for the victims of 1984.
We are Sikhs. We came about to counter social injustice. We have a right to freedom, liberty, and the right to practice our faith.
ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਿਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਧਿਆਈਐ ਜਿਸ ਡਿਠੇ ਸਭ ਦੁਖ ਜਾਏ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਿਮਰਿਐ ਘਰ ਨੌ ਨਿਤ ਆਵੇ ਤਾਏ।
There's lots of people here, probably about 5,000 people. Why do you come back, year on year? I mean, is it about justice? Is it about trying to get some kind of reality into the government about what actually happened? What do you think?
I think it's important to understand the context of what has actually happened to Sikhs. I think it's important to understand the policies that have been used against Sikhs. The fact that people of Punjab and Sikhs were denied rights that were given to all other states in India. Further, I think that it's important to acknowledge that there was genocide that happened against Sikhs, and throughout world history no one can forget genocide. And such as in Africa or other places such as South Africa where you had truth and reconciliation, none of them steps have happened, but people talk about forgetting. But you can't forget until you find truth, until you find justice. And I think Sikhs, who made a vital contribution to India and the creation of India, a role far beyond their population numbers in terms of their sacrifices, that loyalty that they gave to India time and time again was not returned. And for Sikhs, even though we live now abroad, we still want to consider that place, our Guru's Dharti, as our homeland, and therefore we want justice there. And we think that the government of India needs to step up to the mark, and if it wishes to be recognised as the world's largest democracy, then it also needs to be accountable in terms of its human rights and in terms of the dignity of its citizens. And to not even accept Sikhi as a religion is quite amazing, that we can have Sikhi recognised as a religion in all Western countries, but we can't in India. So there's many issues, and the whole issue, everything's very complex. But I think as Sikhs, we do need to simplify it. There's a lot of confusion and a lot of emotion, and I think we need to rationalise this whole thing and present a coherent and effective message, not just to Sikhs themselves, but on a world level, and really start progressing on this issue.
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਪਲੇਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਚੈਨਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ।
Why have you come here today in terms of the march and your particular opinions?
Just come here to support our religion and to make sure things don't go unnoticed, and just to make sure we get some media coverage as well, so everyone knows what the problems are in religion and what's happened in our past.
A lot of people don't realise how much torture our brothers and our sisters, as well as little kids have gone through just for us Sikhs to be here today. It's just absolutely mad. It's something, again, we should never forget.
I also think it's a great event for the Sikh community to come together as one and sort of fight for justice. I went to India a few months ago and I met my uncle there. He told me some horrific stories of what happened in 1984, so it really struck a chord with me to come here and demonstrate and protest for peace and justice.
That our past is not forgotten about, because we can't move on to our future if people forget about our past as well.
Here because what's happened in the 1984 with Sikh peoples. Everybody said what's happening in the Golden Temple, what the people done in the Indian Sarkar. They done very bad, and lots of Sikh brothers, fathers is killing in 84. That's why we here. I want to always say.
The Indian government does enough for.
No, they didn't done anything. They're not doing anything, and still in the moment, so many Sikh young people who's young in before, they're still in the jail. Right. Nobody's care about it. Nobody care about our families as well in it.
It was an attack that outraged the whole Sikh nation throughout the world, and I think it's gone down in history as a big holocaust for the Sikhs, and it is a date that will never be forgotten as long as there's history to be taught.
I
think it's about time we had some justice. I mean, it's been so long. It's been 25 years since all this happened, and nothing's really happened really. And I think people are getting lax. I think it's a problem within our community where we show a face and we pretend to sort of show our concern, but nothing really materialises from it. And I think that's a major problem in our community, and I think that's one of the main reasons why nothing's happened. And I think people are starting to forget what really happened. And I think by this sort of event, it highlights the importance to the youth, and hopefully the youth will then be spurred on to actually pick up the whole movement and begin to demand change and an answer from the Indian government.
Basically, it's 25 years now, and what's changed? Very little. Even till quite recently, and even now, people are still disappearing. I myself have met so many people that have been tortured, kept without trial, imprisoned without any charges. It's still going on, and I think this is one of the few occasions and few chances there is to let the whole world know, not just Sikhs, but the non-Sikh world, what's happened, to remind them of it. So it's not just that we shouldn't forget, it's that the world shouldn't forget either.
My friends, as we stand here in Trafalgar Square, in the heart of London, we remember those who died as a result of this outrageous attack on the very soul of Sikhism. However, knowing that the Sikh faith preaches equality for all of humanity under one God, and that Sikhs have a proud tradition of fighting for justice and against discrimination of any kind, we need to look forward to the future, to reconciliation as well as justice and commemoration, and to the important role that British Sikhs now play in the United Kingdom. Remembrance, my friends, is important, but it must never lead to bitterness.
जवाब देंगे।